DM Champ is a powerful platform designed to help you manage customer engagement and streamline communication. It brings together all your conversations, campaigns, and scheduling tools into one place, making it easier to stay organized and responsive. In this guide, we'll begin with account setup and the onboarding setup using the setup wizard. This ensures that you start with the right foundation, connecting your accounts and configuring the essentials so the system is ready to support your workflow. Then, we'll walk through DMChamp's core features in detail, from campaigns that let you automate outreach to appointments for scheduling, chats for real time conversations, contacts for managing relationships, and many more tools that make handling customer interactions seamless and efficient. And finally, we'll cover the pricing plans. I'll break down each option, explain the differences, and highlight which plan is the best suited for different types of users, whether you're just starting out or scaling up. And by the end of this walkthrough, you'll have a complete understanding of DMChamp from setup to features to choosing the right plan that fits your needs. Alright, so now to get started is that you want to go here into the website of DMChamp. You can use the link in the description of this video down below so that you would be able to go here easily and you can make sure that it's the correct site, and also you'll get some discounts out of that if you use that link in setting up your account in DMChamp. Also look out for some coupon codes in there because you'd be able to use that later on the checkout page so that you can get a discount. And now, once you're here, is that you can now go and set up your account by clicking here on Start Free at the top right, or you can click on Login if you already have an account. If not, you can click here on Start Free, which is what I recommend if you only have a free account here on Login. You can just start free instead so that you can get the full benefits of the link. And in here, you can go for the plans in here. Basically, you would have to get one of these plans, and you could just go for starter, growth, or pro. So I'll be explaining more of this in detail on what each plan is and about the lifetime deal that you can get by using the link in the description. And yeah, so I'll be discussing that later on in this video at the end after I have discussed the features and what you could do here in DMChamp so that you know that it's actually worth it in getting the paid plan. But essentially, before you can proceed here in setting up your account, you would have to get one of these plans in here. And don't worry if you don't want to proceed with payment yet, because you can just start the free trial in here. You don't have to spend anything. You just need to click on one of these plans and which one you would want. Let's say Pro, since this is just a free trial, you won't be spending anything anyway. You click here and start free trial, and then you'll now be prompted in here. You just have to provide your payment information in here on the right side, and once you're done, click on start trial. It will not cost you anything, so don't worry about it. Just cancel before the 14 days end. So just remember that is a very important one right there. So you remember to cancel if you don't want to go and actually buy the plan right here. And that's it. And now I have now set up my account in here, and once you have paid for the subscription or you have gotten a subscription, then you will now be prompted in here. So basically, you just need to answer this questions in here. So this would help DMChamp personalize your experience. So just answer this honestly. These are all personal questions, so it should be very easy. And yeah, so for this one, I'm gonna go for, let's say I'm in a e-commerce, and then you can click here on next button in the bottom right, and then how does conversation start? You can go for my customer messages me first, or I message my customer first, depending on how it is for your business. So let's say my customer messages me first. Next, and what is your main goal? So you can go for customer support, comment to DM. You can select that right here. You could go for database or activation and review automation, lead follow-up, but this is for when your customers are messaging you first or you have selected that option on the previous step. So for this one right here, I'm gonna go for a customer support in here and click on next. Now, do you need appointment booking? You can go for AI powered booking, external booking link, or no booking needed. So for this one right here, I actually like the AI powered booking in here because it is so kind of high tech when the customer is doing it, and I think it really serves them a good feel. So I'm gonna go for this one. You could also go for the others if you think that would be appropriate for you, because these are all personal questions. And here, Google Calendar not connected. So you can connect your Google Calendar right here, right now, if you are ready. If not, then you can just skip this for now, no problem at all. But for this one, I'm just gonna connect it right now. And now it is connected, and as you can see right here, Google Calendar connected, as you see in the notice. So basically, this would let Google Calendar check your real-time availability, automatic calendar event creation, send meeting invites with Google Meet links, prevent double booking, and sync appointments across all your devices. So this is actually very convenient, especially when you often have meetings or appointments with your business. So now I'm going to click here on next. Now set your availability. So this is where you can set your appointment settings. So we have our basic settings. So we can see event name is appointment booking. You can name this however you'd want. And then appointment duration, you can go for 15, 30, 45, or 60 minutes, depending on the average duration of your appointment. So I'm just gonna go for 30 right here. And meeting location, you can go for Google Meet, Zoom, or physical location. So here you would have to input the address if you go for a physical one, but let's say you just want Google Meet because you'll be utilizing Google Calendar. Next is booking rules. So here we have minimum notice. So we have 4 hours, 3 hours, and you can book up to 28 days ahead, 21 to 14, and so on. So by interval of a week. So you can just select them right here, and then the booking rooms. So you can create multiple rooms for different resources or team members. So we have the room name and Google Calendar. So if you have different departments that you would want to be in the same meeting but in the different rooms, then you can set it up right here. So you can click here and add room, and let's say this is for the marketing, and this one would be for the HR or whatever it is that you would want. Let's say I'm gonna go for admins right here, and then you can go for the Google Calendar right here, or the account. You can make sure that you select it right here so that it will be synced with that specific Google Calendar account. That's it. And now once you are done, you can click on save availability, and then once it's saved, you will now be able to click here next. And now let's learn about the business. So you can scrape your website content. So you can see here we have English as our playbook language. So you could also go for other languages if you want. And then here we have the website or competitor's site to analyze. So if you have a website, you can put it up right here, or your competitor if you would want. And then the upload documents, you can go here to upload your info regarding your business, to train your AI about your business so that it would know about its info. So you could upload it all right here so that when the customer would actually chat the AI is actually knowledgeable about your business and would be able to answer your customers' questions. So now I'm gonna upload my file. I'm gonna click here, and we can now see the file in here. So I'm gonna click on open right there, and it should now be uploaded right here. So pages queued for import. So let's just wait for that until it's done. So it should be fast because this is only quite short. So here's how it looks like, by the way. So you could also do it like this. You can make a file just like this, basically just the basic information about my site, or actually this is not my website. It's a site that I really like. So I've been using this as my example. This is not affiliated to us at all, but basically this is how you can structure your information here that you're going to be feeding into the AI to train it. So that's it. So now going back in here, we now have it uploaded, as you can see in here. And also here is that I'm going to provide a site in here. I forgot right there. And now you can click on discover pages, and then it will now look for pages in here. So you just have to wait for that, and as you can see, it has now found 683 pages on that site via sitemap. Now you can import all of that right here so that you would be able to feed that into the AI if you'd want to. So you can click here and import 683 pages. That is actually quite a lot. And then The maximum is only 100 URLs per call, and we got 683. So you would have to manually choose which one you would want. So here with the products, I would want that definitely. And here I don't want the agents and the routes. Definitely want the product folder, and the pages, I think so, and collections, and the blogs. No need for that, because that is quite a lot, as you can see right here, and it will save us a lot right here. And also this one, no need. So I'm more of just this one's right here. So you could do it like this, and you can see how much it's gonna cost. So it's gonna cost us 83 credits. So if you're fine with that, then you could just go and import the 82 pages right here. So click on that, and then you should now be able to see that imported in a bit. So we just need to wait for that until it's done. And yeah, so now we have fed the products and then the collections information here from the site. So I think that will be enough. And here we have the AI personality. So basically you can choose how your AI assistant communicates. So most of the time I think you will choose the professional one. You could also go for the others right here if you think that would be appropriate for your business. So that would depend on what kind of your business is. And then here, as you can see in the website yet, you can go for your similar industry or competitor website instead, so that the DM Champ could work with it with those info. And that's it. So now, it's still not done. It's still being queued, but we can just leave that be for now. Let's click here on next on the bottom right so that we can proceed. Now you can connect your channels. You can go for WhatsApp. You can go for Meta, you can go for web chat or Google Calendar. So I'll just be going for Google Calendar for this example. I'm going to click on connect Google Calendar. Now we have connected this already earlier, but you can connect it here again. Now in here, you also got to connect your channels. So we can go for WhatsApp, Meta, or web chat, depending on which one you would like to connect into your DM Champ. So for this example, I'll just be going for Meta. So in here, you want to click on Meta right here on this checkbox, and it will now prompt you to click on Connect Now. Now, take note is that they have different processes on how you'd be able to connect each channel depending on which channel you would choose to connect here in DM Champ. But as for Meta right here, just click here and Connect Now, and it will now prompt you into your Facebook account with a business account. So now it's loading. So here it is. It has now loaded, and you just basically want to make sure first that you're already logged in here on Facebook so that you don't have to log in once you go through in here. And in here, you can go for the business portfolio. So I have this one right here. I'm going to choose that, and here, create a page. So I'm just create a new page because I don't have one on this dummy account. And here we have Instagram account. So here, I'm going to go for this one right here, my Instagram account right here for this tutorial, and click on next. And with that, we will now be able to enter the business information for our new assets. So here, I'm gonna go for Hydrate Sport because our business here on on DM Champ that we have set up is about Hydrate Sport. And here on category, you can choose on what this business belongs to here. So for this one right here, we don't have anything about gadgets. So I think the closest one. So we'll just choose the closest one. I'm gonna go for food and grocery, and the country in here I'm gonna go for United States. Right here, United States of America, and then we have the website. You can provide it right here. So there it is. We're gonna have the website going on, and once everything is good, you can click here on next. So just basically make sure that you have your business details here correct. And yeah, this is just an example in here. So let's just wait for that to load, and it will now be taking us into the next step. So here, review what you'll share with your AI connector. So you can double check this if you'd want to, and click on confirm once done. And it's now connecting our account. So let's just wait for that to finish. And now here it is. It is now connected, as you can see right here. And basically, you could also add a payment method while you're at this. But I'm just going to click here and finish and skip that for now. So let's click on finish, and it will now take us back into DM Champ after it has been authenticated. So let's just wait for this one right here again. And as you can see, it says Meta connection has been successful and has been successfully connected. So close automatically in 10 seconds, and it will now take us back here into DM Champ, and you can see that our Meta has now been connected with this connect icon right here. And yeah, so now we have one of our channels. Now you could also connect your WhatsApp and web chat if that's available for you. It would be better if you got 3 of them connected in here. So now I'm gonna click on next once you are done, and now build your first campaign. So give your campaign a memorable name. So in here, for my first campaign, I'll just set up a simple welcome flow. It greets new customers, introduces the product, which is in this case Hydrate Spark, and answers common questions. And it would basically answer common hydration questions. This way, you can see how DM Champ handles real conversations right from the start. So for the campaign name, I'm just gonna name this Welcome Flow right here. And then the bot configuration, you can go for the response speed, you can go for quick, fast, thoughtful, or human-like. So you have a notice right here. So faster response speeds reduce AI thinking time. Quick responses may be less accurate, similar to a person answering without thinking carefully. So basically, what this is asking is how much effort in thinking would you want the AI to give in every response. So you can select that right here. You could go for quick, fast, thoughtful, or human-like. So for me, I'm gonna go for just fast. I don't want it to be thoughtful because these are just very easy questions. So it's just about a product. So I think it doesn't really need that much thinking from AI. So I'm just gonna go for fast right here. And then the thoughtful one and human-like were more for more complex situations, or if you have a business that has complex products and you think the information that you'll be giving will be complex, then that would be the time that you would go for thoughtful or human-like. For this one, I'm gonna go for fast and click on save campaign. And now we will be proceeding to the next step. So in here, we can configure our follow-ups. So you can go for the recommendation. So the support conversations usually don't need follow-ups unless specifically requested. And in here you can enable follow-ups if you need that. So as for this one, this is just for support only, then I don't really need the follow-ups right here. So basically just a campaign where the customer could ask basic questions and so on. But if you do need this, like for example, you're using this for an appointment, then you would definitely need follow-ups for that when the date is coming near. Then you can enable that right here. And then you could go for the number of follow-ups, advanced follow-ups, you can go for quick response, standard, persistent, gentle, and many more right here on how you'd be able to set up your follow-up. So you can just configure that right here. And basically this one right here, which is the template for the follow-up, you can go for message one. So you can go for the title, as you can see right here, and then the first name. I wanted to follow up and see if you have any other questions about the Hydrate Spark Pro 2 series. So this is about my product already. So DM Champ has actually already customized that according to our product. So if you'd want to change this, then you can click here on the edit button, and here you can go for the template name on how you'd want it to be named. And then we have the language, template type, and then the template context. So now in here, you should notice that we have the add variable button. So you could basically use this for something like this. You can see hi, and then it says first name. So basically the template in here would get the first name of the customer on who will receive this current template or message. So it will extract the first name and put it here, and also the personal context in here, and depending on what you would put here as the variable or the field. You could click here on add variable if you'd want to add more, or you maybe customize that. You could click here and basically you can choose one. For example, I'm gonna go for an email address. You can see that right here, and you should now be able to see that put in right here. So that's basically how you could do that. And you just need to I actually erased that, so now I'm gonna go put it back. And basically you just need to position where you have your typewriter thing right here. So let's say I want to put it here. Now add variable, and let's say I'm gonna go for phone number, and then it will now be added there. So as you can see, here it is. So that's how you can add that and use the variable in here. And you have your message preview and how it's gonna look like. So as you can see, the first name here in the sample is John. And are you still looking to John with our smart hydration system? And then we can replace this with something like email, or you can go for full name, for example, and it will now be like this. Just make sure to double check it right here so that there will no typos. So for example, here we have typo, which is this one. So there are actually 3 of this brackets, so we would need to go and delete that, and just like that. Moreover, personal context would basically make the follow-up messages feel more personalized rather than generic, because it's going to get the context out of the conversation on what has been going on, and the AI would follow up about that, and it's going to insert that context here into the personal context from that conversation with that customer. So it would feel more personalized rather than generic. So it's a slot here in DMChamp where you can automatically insert information about specific contact or conversation here in your template context. So that's it. Now you know how you can add variables and edit the template context. Now you could click here on update template once you're done with everything. But for this one, I didn't change anything because I think it's already perfect. So that's it. Let's click here on update template. And that's it. And then you can go for others here. So we now have the cycle 2 right here. So now we have value focused. So you can click here and edit once again, and basically the same thing here. And by the way, you could also go for the template type. You can go for general template if you would want. So in here, you'd be able to see that it will now be slightly different. So basically the difference between general and smart follow-up is that we can go here into general template if you would want a static pre-written follow-up message. It's the same for every contact with no dynamic fields or adaptive logic. So this is best for simple reminders, confirmations, or announcements where personalization isn't critical. So that's it. And then we have the smart follow-up again, which is a more comprehensive one or a more dynamic one. So for customer support, onboarding, or engagement flows, where tailoring response makes the interaction more natural. So for this one, I'll just keep it at smart follow-up in here. And now let's go back in here. Next is that I'll be explaining the cycle here because it's also very important for you to understand. So basically here in DMChamp, a cycle is a round of follow-up messages inside a campaign. You can think of this as the rhythm of your conversation flow so that it will not feel robotic and monotonous. So each cycle contains one or more templates. As you can see right here, these are the message templates that we have, and we have also edited earlier. So you can see that 1, 2, 3. So that's how the order is going to be. And this can be general templates, which are static, or smart templates, which we have discussed earlier, which personalize the message using context like personal context. And this basically a cycle is considered complete once all the messages here have been sent. Only then does the campaign move forward to the next cycle or stop if this is the last one. This structure helps you avoid spamming contacts. Instead of repeating the same message, each cycle introduces new content. For example, here in cycle 1 could be something like a product intro or maybe a welcome message. And then cycle 2, you can go for a hydration tip, or cycle 3, a final reminder with a supporting link of the products and so on, or maybe some blogs. You could also do it like that. So for this one right here, in our example, we have friendly approach, and then after that, we can go for value focused, and 3, final attempt right here. So more about upselling something in here once we have provided some value with the previous cycles. However, if the customer would respond or take action, the cycle actually ends early. So they don't keep receiving unnecessary follow-ups right here, or these cycles wherein they don't need this anymore because they have already seen the message and they have already responded. So they won't need or receive unnecessary follow-ups. That way, the cycles here would actually keep your campaigns persistent but respectful, which is good for the customer so that they don't feel pressured, and it would actually guide them with engagement step by step. And that's it for the follow-up in here. So if you want to set this up, you can just go here into step 10, as you can see right here, and you could set up your follow-up, and you can also configure this later on if you ever decide for some changes or something. So once you're done with everything here, click on next on the bottom right, and now we'll be proceeding into the prompt of our AI agent's personality, the key traits, the communication style, and you can think of this as the prompts on how you would want your bot to be created. So here we have the persona. So this is the prompt for the persona. You can change this if you want. Now, DMChamp has made us some preset already for our bot according to the information that we have provided so far in here. So this are everything in here, and you could change one. You could scan everything in here and see if there are any changes that you would want to be made. Then you can definitely do that in here. So as you can see, it says here you are Jordan, the lead hydration consultant and senior sales, and so on right here. So you already see that this is the name of the bot, and many more right here. So what's the main objective for your AI agent? Your mission is to assist potential customers in selecting the ideal Hydrate Spark smart water bottle to meet their unique health goals while maintaining the premium innovative image of the brand. So you can see that, and then share your company story, who founded it, what makes you special, and so on. So basically, this is from the website that we have provided. It has extracted the info there. So this is not actually included on the PDF file that I submitted to train the AI. So this is from the URL we have given. If you remember the pages that we have imported into the AI. So you can see that right here. And are there any rules you would like your AI assistant to follow? You could set the rules in here if you want. You can change that. Outline how a typical chat should progress. So you could basically think of this as a roadmap for your AI. So this is what the AI would generally follow when initiating conversation with your customers. So you can see that in here. So this is how their conversation is gonna go and how the AI would direct the conversation. And there are a ton more in here that you can edit. You can just feel free to explore that. And then we have the structured FAQs. So here, what shipping offer is available for orders on the website? You can see the answer by clicking here on this button, and then this is the answer that the AI would basically give. Now, if there are any FAQs right here that you think is missing and you'd want to add one, click here and add FAQ. And now you can search for your FAQ database in here. If there's something here that you'd want to add, you can add it right here and click on add selected FAQs, and it will now be added here as part of the 41 FAQs. You can also create a new one from scratch by clicking here and create new FAQ. Just type in the question and answer, click on add FAQ, and it should be prompted right here. You should see that right here, and just make sure that it is checked just like this, and click on add selected FAQs. It will now be imported right here once you click here, as you can see. And yeah, so that is basically that. And then you could also link to materials so that your AI can share this with your contacts, like brochures, websites, case studies, or before and after galleries. So you could add that right here, and some more info right here that you might want to add. So now, once you're done setting everything right here, you can now test the AI in here on the right side. So now let's try it out. So let's say recommend me the best product you have, and then I'm gonna send that right there, and let's see how the AI would respond for this request that we have just sent. So bot currently responding, so I just need to wait for that for a bit. It's quite slow, but then as you can see here, it didn't take some time. So hello John, I am Jordan, your dedicated hydration consultant here at Hydrate Spark, because as you can see right here, we have set the name to Jordan. We could also change that if you'd want. And I am here to select ideal smart water bottle for health and habits to get started, which is your primary motivation for seeking a smart hydration solution today. I just need a bottle for my workouts. Right there, you can send that, and then just wait for that to respond. And now here's the response. So that makes perfect sense. Our Pro 2 series is excellent for fitness enthusiasts. Keeps water ice cold for 24 hours. So it has now recommended me a product that would be best according to what I just have provided. To help me recommend the best fit for your routine, are you looking for a bottle with a straw lid or a chug lid? So now it has also asked specific questions that would lead to specific products. So also, do you currently track your workouts on apps like Apple Health, Fitbit, or Garmin? I track my workout on Fitbit, and I prefer a straw lid right here, and send that, and now we will be able to see the response on that, and it will now be able to provide some more specific products. And now here's the response. So the Pro 2 bottle with a straw lid is an ideal choice for your workouts and Fitbit integration. The bottle tracks every sip accurately. You can choose between the 21-ounce size, which fits standard cup holders, and the bigger one right here, which size works better for you. So basically, it will now ask more specific questions until it goes into the most specific product that it can recommend, because there are still choices left based on this context that was provided in here. So that's basically it, and I think I'm satisfied so far with how the AI responds to our message in here. And yeah, that's basically it. And if there's any response in here that you don't like, you can just simply find that here on the left side on your instructions, so that you'd be able to change that if you would want. So that's it. And now, once you're happy with everything, you can now click here on Save Campaign. Right here, if you'd want to save this first, you could also optimize if you're not satisfied and you'd like to redo this with AI. You could also discard changes if you'd want to delete everything, but for me, I'm satisfied, so I'm gonna go click here on next. And now we are all set. Our first campaign is now ready to go, and it is now live and ready to receive messages. So here you can see what's live, the welcome flow campaign that we have just created, and then the next steps, you can add your WhatsApp to your website, which we haven't added yet, and you can test the booking flow. So you can send a test message to your WhatsApp number and try booking, review availability settings, and so on. So now let's go into the dashboard, and here we are. Finally, we're done with the onboarding setup. That is a crucial step for you to finish first once you are here in DM Champ. And now here we are. So let's proceed to the homepage, and I will be discussing each of these features in here. Now, before we dive into these features or tools here in the left menu, we're just gonna go into campaigns first and double check the campaign that we have just created, because here in this view, it's actually quite a different feel in creating our campaigns here compared to what we did on the onboarding setup. So I'll just gonna go and clarify everything in here so that we're good with the campaigns before we proceed to the other things in here. So basically, for example, when we click here on new campaign button on the top right, let's say we're gonna create a new one, you can click here, and then basically you can add the campaign name again, and here we have the campaign type. So basically, we already have this on the onboarding setup, but it's just that this is on a different term, so this might get some beginners confused. So I'm just going to clarify this. So the outgoing one would be the proactive one, which means DM Champ initiates the conversation by sending messages to contacts without waiting for them to reach out. So if you remember this on the onboarding setup, this was the one that that says you're the one who are going to initiate the contact, and then here on incoming from unknown contacts is basically the reactive, which means the customer would be the one to send the message first, and then DM Champ would respond. And then we have now the combined. So this is the combination of the two. So on the onboarding setup, we only have these two choices in here, but now here we have combined. So this is hybrid. So DM Champ can both send proactive messages and respond to incoming ones in the same campaign. So you can choose one right here, depending on what type you would want the campaign to be. And then primary language, you could also enable the bookings in here, and advanced mode, knowledge base URL, wherein you can put in your website and then documents. So basically the info that you would want to feed the AI in here on your campaign. So basically that's that. So it's slightly in a different view, as you can see. So just clarify that so that you will not get confused when you go here into the campaigns after you have onboarded. Now let's go here into one of this campaigns. Let's say this one that we have just created. We can click here on the edit button, and this is where we can edit that. And as you can see right here, these are the steps that you would need to complete in order for you to set up your campaign, which we already did on the onboarding setup. So I'm just gonna show it to you right here so that you will be able to see it in the new view, not on the onboarding one. So here we have the campaign name, campaign channels with that we have already connected. You can see that right here. So you could also connect one right here if you haven't already. So I'm gonna go use Messenger for this, save and continue. And then the AI instructions would be step 2. So if you remember, this was the last step in the onboarding one, but this time it's on step 2, so that might confuse some beginners. But basically it's the same thing, and this is where you can set up your prompts here to personalize your AI agent. You can import or export your data in here. You can edit this as much as you'd like, and then once you're ready, you can scroll all the way down, and then you will now be able to see the response speed also right here. You can see that, and then some more settings in here regarding the speed and max messages that the AI can send before pausing. You can go for 20, or you can go above that or below. And here we have the AI quality, so we can only go for Pro for this one. The economy is basically no longer supported. And we have the max messages per response. We can go for 6. And I think I'm just going to go for something lower than this. So I think I'm going to go for just 3 would be the maximum. And then use minimum wait time for new contacts, and then allow AI to update contact names and so on. Enable bot 24/7. So those are your options here. Once you're done, click on save and continue, and then we'll be going on to step 3, which is the set FAQs. So once again, this is where you can set that. Click on add FAQs. If you want to add more, you can click here and select one once again, or create a new one from scratch by clicking here on this button. And then you could also add a new source here on your knowledge base. So you can add more files, you can add more domains if you'd want. Then the FAQ groups, you can see that right here, limited knowledge base, which we have imported from the website that we have just given the AI. And then the resources and other information, you could put it right here. Now I'm going to go into save and continue. Here we also now have the tags. Now we don't have this on the onboarding setup. This is where you could also set up your tags. So you can just go here and edit your campaigns, and then you can set up your tag in here. Like for example, I'm going to go for, let's say, website, customer, and then you can go for a tag or description and where to assign. So assign this tag when the contact has booked an appointment. So let's say this customer booked using the website, just like that. And then you can now click here on add, and it will now be added as your tags, so that you can put this on your customers so that you can organize them. And now you could also add a webhook in here if you'd want to. And once you're done with that, you can now proceed into the next one. So that would be the custom functions. We also don't have this in the onboarding setup, so let me discuss. So basically, the custom functions here in DMChamp are like hidden actions that run alongside your campaign messages. While your customer sees the welcome flow, the system can also tag them, update their deal stage, or send data to another app depending on what custom function you set in here. This makes your campaign not just conversational, but also operational, connecting engagement with automation. Now for this one, we don't have any custom functions yet. We will be making one later on this video. We'll just be focusing on the campaigns, but basically this is where you'd be able to set up your custom functions for campaigns. So for now, we'll be skipping this. So let's click here on save and continue. Next, we have to try out the AI. So basically the same thing as we did earlier. You can try it out right here and see if you're all good with it and the responses are all good. Then you can just click here on next once you're ready to proceed. If not, then you can go use the other features that we have discussed. So I'm going to click here on next, and now we can now launch the campaign. So here we have the AI mode. So you can see on what it's about right here. So this would determine whether AI should respond to messages immediately when enabled. AI takes charge of replying to messages right away. facilitating timely and efficient communication. So if this is turned off, then you would need a human operator to respond to the messages. Of course, I would want the AI mode to be on for this one right here. So we would get that flexibility based on the info that we have fed the AI. So we could use that. And we have the advanced follow-up configuration, just like what we have discussed earlier. So you could also see that right here. So you can set it up. And we have the step 8. So now we can click here on launch now, click on save. And then we can now just monitor that, and you can see now that it is live. So now we have set our campaign to live from the onboarding setup. Now, if you don't see that campaign here from the onboarding setup, you can just simply click on new campaign, and it should be easy and fast for you to create one now that you know how you can effectively use or create a campaign here in DM Champ. And take note that you always have the option here to click on add campaign, duplicate campaign, or delete the campaign in here. So you could also go for the channel routing. You could assign your channels in here. So make sure that you have all the channels that your business have and connected all right here. And you can see on what campaigns are connected to each channel. So for this messenger, I have one right here, which is the welcome flow that we have created. So that's it. This is basically where you can see all the campaigns set up in your account. Now, let's go back in here to the dashboard. So I'll be discussing dashboard in here. So basically, this would be the central hub where you'll see everything happening inside DM Champ at a glance. At the very top, you'll see that the dashboard gives you a quick overview of your campaigns, contacts, and conversations. Think of it as the one place to check performance without digging into each section. So in here, you can see how many messages was sent, delivered, read, and then you could also see how many replies you got, and then the bookings that was made, contacts created, average messages per chat, and then the credits used. So basically, this is more like shows the total number of message credits consumed by the campaign that we have, and also the chats. And the average credits per chat would be this would be the calculation of the typical number of credits consumed in a single conversation. We can also see the graph in here. We don't have much because this is just a dummy account, but basically this is where you can see how well your campaigns are doing in terms of graph. So you can see that grow right here, and then you could also go for the date range on what data you would want to look at. So that's for the dashboard. Now let's go into daily summaries. So basically, daily summaries is designed to give you a quick snapshot of everything that happened in your account within the day that you have selected in here without needing to click through multiple tabs. So you can change the date depending on what date you would want it to be. So you can click here and you can choose one. And in here is basically useful because they highlight trends at a glance. For example, if you notice a spike in new contacts, then you should see that right here. You will be alerted or notified in here, and how many credits were used. It's essentially your daily performance report. So you could also see that we have the number of conversations, messages sent. So essentially like dashboard, but this one is more of your daily reports. So dashboard would be for more on long term. This would be focused more on daily stats. So you could see that in here, the wins, losses, and improvements, tasks and actions that was completed, human alerts and reviews, and more right here. So that's basically the thought here within daily summaries. Now let's go here into chats. So essentially, this is where you'd be able to see all the messages that you have received through all your channels and campaigns that is connected here into your DM Champ account. So in here, you'd be able to see that in all chats. And you can also go for more specific ones right here. You can use the filter at the top. You can go for open chats. So these are conversations that are still active and need attention. And then you can go for closed chats. This would be the conversations that have been marked as complete or resolved. And you can go for AI active, and these are the conversations that was handled by AI. And you can see this conversation right here. And you could notice that we also have this icon here that means AI message. So AI was the one that sent this. And then we have AI paused. So if there are any conversations in here that the AI was paused in responding to, so maybe a human operator was the one that continued the conversation. And then we have the unread. So this is where you can see all the unread chats, attention required chats, the archive chats, and the follow-up schedules right here. So if there are any follow-up that has been made, you can see that right here. And then the campaigns. So if you would want to see the chats filtered by campaigns, you could click here in campaign, and then you could choose the campaign in here. So for example, the welcome flow that we did, so we have one right here. You can click on that and open the conversation here. We also have the tags, so you could also filter them by tags. So this is the tag that we have created earlier. We could also click on that, and then we don't have a customer that fits this tag yet, so there's no result. And then we have the channel, so we can go for all channels or just specific ones right here. In this case, we only have Messenger as active here in our campaign, so we only have this. And we also have the assignee. So if you would want to filter by assignee, let's say you're working with a team, you can go for an assignee in here on that person, so you can see all the chats that was assigned to that person. So that's how you can use the filter in here. For now, let's just go into all chat. And I'll be talking more about how you can assign a chat into your team here later on. Now, here is, you can see the chat, so you can click here so that you would now be able to open that. And here we have the archive button, and this will just basically put this on the archived list right here. So you can see that, and you can move it to inbox if you don't want to archive it anymore. And you can see that this is in Messenger, and the AI is active in here. And now moving on in here is where you'd be able to see the actual conversation itself. So you could see the name of the person or the user that has chatted you or activated the Champ, and you can see the last active, which is 2 hours ago. And here you can see the chat itself. You can see the date or time in here on when this was sent. And then you also have this menus right here. You could click here, and then you'd actually be able to delete messages in here if you'd want to, right here. And then you could also create a task regarding that message. Like for example, there is a request, for example right here. I can click here and create a task, and then we can create a task out of that message in here. So we'll be discussing more about task later on when we go into the task section, but basically this is where you could also create a task, so just remember that. And I'm just gonna cancel this. And basically we can also click here on the magnifying icon. So this is where we can search through specific messages in this conversation. If it gets too long and it's hard to find specific messages, this is where you can search for it right here easily. And now we have the 3 dots. So here we can test in Playground. You can edit the contact details, assign to campaign. So if you'd want to move this chat into a campaign, you can click here, assign chat. So this is where you'd be able to assign your team members into this chat, that they will be the one to handle this. You can click on that, and then you can see all your team members. You can leave this chat unassigned, or you could leave this to specific team members in here, whichever you prefer. And then you could also export this chat if you'd want. You can archive, you can put it in DND or do not disturb mode, or you could put it in private. In this case, then the normal members will not be able to see this chat, only those with special permissions. And we'll be discussing more about that special permissions and the teams later on. But yeah, basically this is where you can do that, and you could also delete the contact if you wish to right here. And you can see it is paused because we have set it at private. So for now, we can resume the AI for this. So making it private would mean that we will basically pause and let not the AI handle that. That would be up to the human operator. So now next is that we can also see the contact information right here, some more info. So you can see the tags. You can add your tags in here to this specific contact or to this specific chat. You can click here, and then you could go and add your tag and assign tag. So if you don't want to create more tags, you can do that later on the contacts page. So we'll be doing that later on, or in the campaign actually would also work. And here we have the campaigns. You could also assign this chat to a campaign by doing it here. We could also add appointments in here if you would want to. You could add an appointment, and then the summary, you could also see that in here if you'd like AI to summarize what this chat is all about. And then here, you could pause the AI in handling this conversation by clicking here on this button, or you could also schedule a follow-up if you would want to. So you can describe what to follow up with, and then the AI will be the one to execute this follow-up in here. Based on the schedule, it will be on point in delivery and in time. So that's it. Now let me just go and restore the messages in here. And now here we have it. So you can see here that we now have some chats going on. And basically, while we're here in the chats, let me demonstrate on what the AI chatbot that we have just created is capable of. So now I'm going to show you the messenger right here. So you can see that. So this is the messenger chat that we have, that I have just made for this example. So now in here, this one was the one that was hidden because we have set this in private, and here is the message that I have sent just now. So now I'm gonna go and respond here, and you could see that being updated here in DM chat. So for example, here it responded, to get started, could you share a bit about your current hydration habits and if you find it challenging to stay consistent with your water intake throughout a busy day? Yes, I find it challenging. Also, I need one that is fitting for my intense workouts. Can you find me a product? Right there. And then from here, you would now be able to see that updated in here. And as you can see, and we can see that the AI is actually working on the reply. So you see here, waiting for contact to finish replying. And we just need to wait for that right there. So we'll just go and do that right here. So I'm just gonna go and leave the conversation so that the AI would think that we're not typing anymore, and now AI is thinking for the response. We just have to wait for a bit right here. It's not instantaneous in here, and there it is. We can see that the AI is typing, and we now have the initial reply that it is thinking of. So here it has now responded right here, as you can see, and there is now another one right here that is coming up, I think, because it is still typing, and there it is. You can see that updated here in real time. So that's basically how it works. You can just do all your chats here in DMChamp without even leaving DMChamp and going into the other specific platforms like Instagram, Messenger, just to reply into that specific person. So you could control all the chats in here. And that's basically that. And now let's try scheduling a follow-up. So now we can click here, and I'm gonna go for a follow-up about the product that he asked if he is interested in it. And I'm gonna click here on I'm gonna go for follow-up about the product in it. Do this in 30 seconds. After 30 seconds right here, 30 seconds, you can go for that and click on schedule follow-up. And then in here, it will now be prompted into the AI. So let's just wait for that 30 seconds to come, and then it should now be executed by the AI. So as you can see right here, we now have an AI scheduled follow-up. So let's just wait for that, and we should now be able to see that happen right here on our messenger or on our chat. So that's it. You can see that being pending right here. And there it is. As you can see, it has now made a follow-up request. As you can see, it says, "Hi, I wanted to follow up and see if you've had a chance to think about a product we discussed. Are you still interested in moving forward?" So exactly as we have asked. So that's basically the schedule follow-up in here, so that you don't have to go and wait and focus on the single conversation if you're handling a lot of conversation. So with this one, you would actually be able to respond in schedule and not miss anything. So this is a very helpful feature in here that you could use so that you could stay efficient in handling all the chats. Now let's try pausing AI. So you could do it like this, and then you can generate your own reply. So from here, I'm gonna go for hi Ko, are you still interested? You can click on that, and then you could send that right here, and it would actually be sent on the messenger. As you can see right here, you could type your own message. You could click here and generate a reply, and then Basically it will now put it right here in the chat box, so you can edit it right here so that you don't have to think about yourself. You can just check that, edit if there's something that you'd want to change, and that's basically it. You can click here and send if you'd want to send that. And you could also resume the AI if you would now want the AI to continue or handle the conversation from here. So that's basically chats. Now next, let's move on to contacts. So here you can see that we now have our first contact in here. So this was imported via chat because it has made chat into our one of our channels. So it was automatically imported here into contacts. So that's how contacts work. It would automatically import the one that is interacting with your AI chat agent and basically your campaigns. So you can see that right here. And you could also see that we have filter in here if you'd want to filter out the contacts via campaigns. You can see that right here. And you could also create more filter right here, like the bot active, the channel, the tags of the contacts, private, and many more. So those are your controls. And basically the important thing that we'll be discussing here is basically creating a new contact and importing it. So let's say that you are migrating into DMChamp from other platforms that is similar to DMChamp. You can click here on import actually, and then you could upload a file in here that you have exported from your old or previous platform. So in here, you can import your contacts in here automatically. And you could also download a template if you would want. So this would basically be the format on how you would want to structure the contacts here in importing in DMChamp. So now let me open the CSV file. So this is basically looking like this. So here it is. So this is how you would want to import your contacts. You can go for the first name, last name, email, and phone number in here. So that's how you'd want to structure it so that DMChamp would be able to read that seamlessly, and then you will now be able to get the correct result so that you don't have to edit anything anymore, and that would save you some effort. So that's a template in here. You could start importing if you'd want, or you could also manually add a new contact. So right here, you could go for the basic information. You can fill in the contact details in here, like the first name, for example, Kyle Tutors. You could go for the phone number if you'd want to. So I'm gonna go for a sample one. The channel on where this contact is contacting you. So for this one, I'm gonna go for WhatsApp, for example. You can go for their email, the lead profile. You can enter some more detailed info regarding the contact in here. And then we have the contact settings. You could go for bot active if you allow the AI to handle this contact. You can go for private. You can go for do not disturb or mark it as spam, depending on how you'd want to set your contact. And then you have your custom fields in here. So here in custom field, when creating a contact, DMChamp gives you default fields already, like name, email, and phone. But you can also add custom fields if you'd want other than that. These are the extra data points you define yourself. For example, I could add a field called bottle choice or bottle type to track which product each customer owns. And custom fields make your contacts more detailed, so you can personalize campaigns, segment audiences, and even automate actions based on those values. Now, we can click here on add field or click here on add your first field. We have the field name. So this would basically be the label. So for example, I'm going to go for the bottle type right here, or bottle choice. You wouldn't be able to make some space in here, so it will be like this. So let's say just like that, bottle choice. And in here, I'm going to go for Hydrate Spark Pro 2. So this would be the chosen bottle or product of this customer. So I'm going to go for the field name, and the field value would be this one right here. So you can click here on add. So with that, you now have custom fields much more specific than the default fields already provided by DMChamp. So that's custom fields for you. You can add more information or more fields regarding this customer if you want. You could also use this on the other contacts that you will be making. You can click here and delete if you want to delete it from this contact or from all contacts that has been using this custom field. So that's custom field. It's that very easy. And then we have tags and lists. So very familiar with this. So tags is what you would be able to label this contact. You click here, and then you already have the tag that we have created in here. So if you'd want to create one, this is not where you can create your tags. And you can go for a list if you also would want to. So you can see that we now have our campaigns in here. So you could create a new list if you would want. Then you can go for sample list and click on create. And you can see here that the list has now been selected. So this is the one that we have just created. Now, to explain list, this is simply a group of contacts bundled together for easier targeting. For example, I could create a list called bottle owners and add everyone who purchased a product from my business, which is basically Hydrate Spark Pro. So let's say I'm gonna go for that one. So you can click here and create list. So let's say bottle owners. So these are all the customers that I have that has purchased a water bottle from me. And in here, it will now be automatically selected. You could also click here on X if you'd want to remove that. So that's basically a list in here. So it's a way for you to bundle your contacts together or group them for a specific grouping or organization purposes. Now I'm going to click on create contact now once I'm done, because I'm done with that. And here we have, it is now added right here. And we can see we also have some more buttons in here. We have bot active, so you can let the AI handle this whenever possible. You can go and make it private, DND, and some more other actions in here like add to campaign, edit, or even open chat if there's a chat regarding this person right here or this contact. So as you can see right here, this one should be empty because we haven't chatted here yet. So that's it. And now you could also export all the contacts in here. Like let's say that you would want to put it into a CSV file for whatever purposes. Then you can click here and then you would now be able to export all of that contacts once this loads, and you'd now be able to download it just like so. So I have now downloaded the file in here. You just can't see it from my screen, but basically here it is. And I'm just going to open that, and here we have all the details. So just like this. You could also use this as your template for when you are importing your contacts here in DMChamp. So if you have more than one fields, like the template that we have downloaded earlier, right, is only available until email. But if you also need some other things just like this one, you can just add it right here, just like that, and then DMChamp would be able to actually read that and import it here into the contacts. Alright, so now next is that we have the deals or the deal pipeline. So this is basically where DMChamp helps you track opportunities step by step. So each deal here appears as a card. You can move it across stages like new lead, engage, negotiation, and close stage. The pipeline gives you a clear picture of where your customers are in the journey, and it helps you forecast are likely to close. In short, it's your sales workflow visualized inside DMChamp. So now let me demonstrate. So in here, we're going to click on configure pipeline. In here, you can see we don't have any stages yet, so we would have to build the stages for our pipeline. Click here and add stage. Now in here, you can add the stage name. So this is the step in the pipeline. So for this example, I'm going to go for new lead. Let's say the first stage is a new lead. So we have established that the customers here would be the new lead. Now, next is that we have the value. So in here, we're going to set this for 0 USD because this is just a new lead, so nothing there yet. And here, the trigger tag, we can go for website customer. And if you'd want to make more tags in here, you could definitely do that. Like you could go for a new lead tag, engage contact tag, negotiation, or closed deal one tag, or something like that. So I only have one trigger tag in here, which is what we have created earlier. Now, I'm going to show you on how you can create a trigger tag in here so that you could use it here in your pipeline stage, because this one is crucial. Now, we're going to go into settings, and we have tags in here. This is where we can add our trigger tags. So as you can see, we have the website customer, and we can add more as we wish. So add tag. So we'll go for a new tag for each stage in our pipeline. So first stage is that we have the new lead. So we're going to name this a new lead tag. And now notice here we have the generate summary button. So this basically automatically writes a short explanation based on the tag name. For example, we have new lead. So if I were to create this tag in here, generate summary here, if turned on, would automatically add a description like this are the contacts that are newly added into our contacts in here, or these are the customers who have just contacted us through the channels or our campaigns, something like that. So let's generate summary in here. So you can turn that on if you'd want. So this would basically make it clear for me and my team what the tag is used for, especially when we're managing multiple campaigns. So this is also necessary, especially if you're working with a team. So I'm gonna click here on save. I'm just gonna turn that on right there. Here it is. We now have our new lead tag. So I have deleted the previous one that we have right here because we will not be needing that anymore. You can click here on the delete button and it will be easily deleted. Now we can add a new tag for the next stages of our deal pipeline. So the next one would be the engage contact. So this is the time when the contact would engage in our product. So we would actually earn something in here already. And I'm gonna go and add a new one. So the next stage would be negotiation. So from the name itself, negotiation right here. So I'm gonna go for negotiation started right there, and then enable that. And then basically the last one for that stage is that we have the closed one, or actually we can name this deal one. So we have closed the deal and we have successfully won because we have now made a deal, and that would lead to profit. Now I'm gonna go and enable that right here and click on save again. And also I will be adding one right here in case we didn't successfully close the deal. So I'll also go for a deal lost right there. And then I'm gonna go and generate a summary for that, and there it is, saved. So the thing here is that it will not be loaded right away. You would have to refresh the page in order for you to get the updated tags that you have created. So now I'm gonna refresh this, and then you'd now be able to see that we have now created all these tags in here. So just wait for that to load, and there it is. So let's just go and enable this right here. Alright, so there it is, all done now with the tags. Now let's go back here into deals, and we should now be able to configure this seamlessly. I'm gonna add a stage, and now I'm gonna name the first stage here new lead. So this is where we can get our lead, and the value for this stage right here would be 0 because we just got the lead. And in here I'm gonna go for the trigger tag that we have, so we should have the new lead which we have created earlier. Now we can add another stage, and in here you can go for the engaged right here. So this is my strategy in here. You can go and make your own if you'd want to, but you could also use this as a guide if you'd want. So for this one right here, I'm gonna go for 500 actually. And then for the trigger tag, this would now be the engage contact, and do the same thing for the other tags. It's that simple. So now I'm gonna go for the negotiation. You can also change the color here right away. You click here, and then you can change the color however you'd want, but for me the color really doesn't matter, so I'm fine with the default one. And now I'm gonna set the value here to 2000. So this is just estimated value in here, and I'm gonna go for negotiation started, and then the stage here I can go for the closed one, and then I'm gonna go for 5,000, and then this should be the deal one. And then the last stage right here would be the closed lost, and then I'm gonna go and go for the deal lost in here. So this is basically my pipeline stage. In this demonstration, you can do your research, make your own strategy on how you'd want your pipeline stage to be done, but for this one I'm satisfied with this. Now that we're done in here, we can now click on save changes. Alright, so here's how it's gonna look like once it's done. So as you can see, it is very much like Trello or Kanban boards. So if you know those tools here, so it's basically very similar to that on how it's gonna work in here. So you're gonna be making a deal, and it will be represented as a card. So you can click here on add deal at the top right, and in here we now have the deal title. So you can set your title in here. So I'm gonna go for, let's say, hydration bottle starter pack right there. And here in the description is that we can put something like a new customer inquiry from website right here, or you could be more specific, like this customer is we can go for who ordered this, like X company, for example, X company right here, and you could also put it at the beginning, which is actually much better right there. So I can put something like this, so I know it's a deal from X company and the deal is about hydration bottle starter pack. And then you can put in the description in here, they reached out yesterday regarding the deal. They say they are interested in partnering with a hydration bottle package. So maybe something like this. So you can put in more details here regarding the deal. So this is where you'd be able to put in the details so that other people, especially when you're working with a team, would actually be able to understand what the deal is about. So it's very important also. And here the deal value is where you could estimate how much a deal is worth right now, or probably is worth. So it's just an estimation. Let's say I'm gonna go for 500. And here in the probability, so this is where the stages come in. So basically here in probability, so if it's still in the new lead stage, so I'd say it's around just 10 to 20%, let's say 20% of probability in here. So this is because here in the new lead stage, it's just a contact entering the system, no commitment, no forecastable revenue yet. Keeping it here at a low probability would be the best, so that we don't assume that it is already on high probability. And here I'm gonna go for a new lead for this one, and priority here you can go for low, medium, high depending on the urgency. But for this one right here, since this is just a new lead, I think I'm just gonna go for low for this one. And then you can also go for high actually if you think this company is big and would actually be worth partnering or making a deal with. You can go for high even if it's still a new lead, depending on how you'd want it. So for this one, I'm just gonna go for low. And the contact here, you could actually select the contact if you have imported someone in your contacts. Then you could select that right here so that they will be actually involved with this deal. So if there are any contacts here that is involved with the deal, you can select them right here so that you could also set it right here. So now I'm gonna go for example, John Doe right there. And then we have the company. So you can enter the company name. So here, X company, we could go for say X company in here. And then the source, you could go for, let's say, cold call right here. And then the notes, so any other details that you might want to add aside from the description that you have provided in here. So that's basically that. And now I know you might probably be wondering why I still indicated the company in here even though we have a company field in here. So you could actually just go and close this, but I just prefer it to do it like this. So that this is how I've been doing my deal titles. But yeah, just simple preference in here. So I can click here and create deal, and it will now be added as a card on the stage that we have selected it. So as you can see, we now have it right here. So you could also see the company. And now, just as I mentioned, it is like the card here in the Kanban board, select Trello. You could just move it so that it will now move on onto the stage, onto the next stage of the deal. So from new lead, it will now become engaged. And notice that it will now change the total for that stage. So for example, I just want to add another one. So I'm going to go for a sample, and I'm going to go and set the value to 1500. Right there, and now we have it right here. So now when I move it here, same one as we have on our previous card, just like here in engage. So let me just move that. Here it is. It will now also increase in value. So this would be the total of the deals that is currently at this stage. So this is what the numbers here represent. Now if you're wondering what's the use of setting the deal value here on this stage right here, I mean the stage value. So this basically are just a reference point on basically how much the value should be on each deal once they reach this stage. So here in engage, so this is just a reference point for you or your team. So basically here we have $500. So basically that's the value here, which is just the right one for the estimated or reference value that we have on the engage stage right here. Now if we move that into negotiation right here, you could actually go and edit the card in here, click on edit, and here you can edit the value if it actually increased. If not, then it's fine. The stage value here is just a reference anyway. You don't have to follow this strictly. And in here, you could also change the probability. So of course, the deal has now progressed in stage, so the probability should also be higher because it is now in a higher stage, so which means it is closer to being closed or completion. So here in the negotiation, I'd say about we can go for like 60% in probability that we will be able to close this deal. We click on update a deal in here. So this is a great practice here in setting your probability, especially when you're working once with a team once again, so that you would have clear expectations here on how probable will this deal get closed. So for example, you could still go for 40% in here if you'd want, even if it's already in the negotiation part. So that would depend on you. So yeah, it's just that the point here is it's good practice. As you move your card through each stages, you update the probability right here. So let's say I'm gonna go for 60 because it's already in the negotiation, and basically once it's going for the closed one, which is basically closed deal already, so this time basically, of course, this would now be 100 probability because we have already completed or closed the deal in here. So that's it. So now we can click on update the deal, and that's it. And now if we didn't successfully close this, then you can go here for closed lost right here as we have set on this stage. And now we can just go and edit the probability to 0 because it is not successful and there's no chance of getting this back up. But yeah, so that's basically it, and this is how you can set up your deal pipeline in here. And once again, you can set your own strategy on how you would want to make your stages in here and how you'd want to do your cards, but this is basically the basics and how you'd be able to do that. Now you have a guide on how you can get started here on the deal pipeline. Alright, so now next would be the tasks. So as you can see, it is very similar to the deals that we had earlier, which is the deal pipeline. So it's looking like the Kanban board once again, or the Kanban view. So very similar here. And essentially, the process on how you can use this is also very similar. So what we would need to do first is, if you're not satisfied with this cards right here, or whatever you call them, you can click here on the settings icon, and this is where you could actually change them, remove them, rearrange them however you'd want. So that's it. And for this one right here is that you could go for the board templates. You could go for sales, support, or general. So if we go for sales, it will now be replaced with this. Support will with this. So these are just templates. So I'm just gonna go for the general one right here. You could make your own if you would want to, your own custom one. You could click here on add stage and it will be added in here. You can just name that and it should be updated here once you click on save changes. But for me, I'm just gonna go for add another stage here. I'm gonna go for canceled right here, and then I'm gonna click on save changes, and now it should be added in here just like that. And we could actually also change the color. I don't want to change that because it's very similar to done, and I'm gonna go for another one just like that. I think that's good. Alright, so now the next thing is that you can now add a task in here if you want. So basically very similar to the deal. So here we have the task title, so we can make a task. So for example, I'm gonna relate this to the deal that we had earlier, which is this one right here. So I'm gonna go into task and add a task about that, and then here you can enter the task title. So let's say follow up call regarding the hydration bottle deal right here, or package deal right here. And then now in the description, I'm gonna go for call someone specific. So let's say John Smith to discuss starter hydration bottle package. So maybe something like that. And then here under the type, so you can go for to do, call, email, follow up, and many more. So depending on what kind of task this is, you can click here and create a new type if this type is not in any of this that is listed. So you can just create a new one right here, no problem. But for me, I'm just gonna go for a follow-up because this is a follow-up call. And then you can click here on the priority, choose how urgent is this. So you could go for none to urgent right here. So for this one, I'm just gonna go for like medium right here. Actually low, because we have also set it into low in the deals previously. And then we have this stage is that we have the to do, in progress, waiting, done, and cancel. So basically these are the stages in here that we have set. So I'm gonna go for to do here, and the due date, let's go and set that. Like, let's say I'm gonna go for like 26, which is tomorrow. And then I'm gonna go for the contact. So if you have imported this contact, or if you have the person here in your Daemon Champ as a contact, you can just simply link it right here. So depending on how you'd want to do this. So you could also add more details here in the notes if you'd want. And once you're done, you can now click on create task, and it will now be created, and we will now have that card here in the stage that we have chosen. So here in to do, and we can just move it freely if the deal or the task would actually progress. So we can click here on complete right here, and as you can see, it will now be set into done. So that's basically just a shortcut so that you could drag or update the status of this card into done. Now, what if you would want to update it into a different status? Like, let's say it will be moved to in progress. So unlike the deal section where you just drag the card just like this, it will not happen here in task. What you would need to do to put it right here is that you would need to click here on the edit button. And in here, you can go for the stage. And you simply need to change this into whatever stage you would want this card to be moved. Let's say in progress. In here, we can click on update task. And with this, it will now save. And once it's done, you will now be able to see that it will be moved right here. So that's how you can move the cards in here if ever the status or the stage has now been changed for this current card. So that's basically just a shortcut so that you could drag or update the status of this card into done. Now, what if you would want to update it into a different status? Like, let's say it will be moved to in progress. So unlike the deal section where you just drag the card just like this, it will not happen here in task. What you would need to do to put it right here is that you would need to click here on the edit button. And in here, you can go for the stage. And you simply need to change this into whatever stage you would want this card to be moved. Let's say in progress. In here, we can click on update task. And with this, it will now save. And once it's done, you will now be able to see that it will be moved right here. So that's how you can move the cards in here if ever the status or the stage has now been changed for this current card. Now, other feature here is that you could also change the view. So if you don't like this Kanban view, you can go for table. So in here, you can see it in the table view. If you prefer this view right here when viewing all your tasks, you could also go for list type. You could see that in here, or the calendar view, depending on which one you prefer. So you have 4 views total in choices in here in tasks. So depend on how you'd want to do this. And also you have these buttons in here wherein you would be able to just click here on the filters. So you could also search for task if there's too many in here. So you can search for specific task as long as you know any detail about it. Type the keyword in here, and then you could also use the filters here. You can filter via the priorities. You can go for urgent to none. Go for types, so we can see all the types in here. So we have to do, call, email, follow-up, FAQs, and many more. Also the stages, you can filter it in here, and the contacts. So that's basically that here on how you could do the tasks. So there's another way here that you can create a task. I have mentioned this earlier, but then again, I'll go and put in a real demonstration here. So we're going to go back here into chats, and this is where we could also create a task. So we can click here on the 3 lines right here at the top right, and then you can just select the chat right here, and then you can actually click on create a task, and this would be imported into the task section in here. That goes the same thing on your own messages or the AI messages that was done in here. So you could manually do this if you'd want. Like for example here, make me an appointment as said here in this message. You could click here and create task, and you could go for task title. It will be automatically filled like this, follow up on, and then the contact name. Now you could also edit this if you'd want. Let's say I'm gonna go for appointment. I'm gonna add something like that. You can add details here for the description so that your team member or you remember what it is about. And in the type, the priority, the stage, you can put it right here. Let's say I'm gonna go for waiting, and then the due date, you can set that if applicable, and the contacts, notes, and so on. Click on create task, and then that's it. When you go back into task, you should now see that right here in the stage or this section or the column here that you have imported it. So that's basically the tasks. Alright, so now next we'll be talking about the appointments. So click here on appointments on the left menu, and here we can see the upcoming appointment section. So from the name itself, very understandable. This is where you can see all the appointments that is upcoming or is coming soon. So this is where you could see that, and so that you would be aware and would actually be prepared for that appointment and know who to reach out, because you could see the contact info and other details in here. You could also click here on delete if you have canceled an appointment and so on. So you could click here on this button. Now we also have event types. So these are basically the templates in here for your appointments. So what kind of appointments or event would you want to be available to be booked? Like I have here, I have created a 30-minute product demo, sample appointment, appointment booking, and many more right here. So let me demonstrate. I can click here on create event type and basically choose the details of the event. So first is the name. So let's say I'm gonna go for product or bulk product purchase deal. Maybe something like that, or negotiation. Right there. And then you can go for event duration in minutes. So you can put it in right here specifically. Let's say 45 or maybe 50. But for this one, I'm just going to go for 30. And here we have 5-minute slots or 15-minute slots. So what this basically means is the interval on how often the customers would be able to book. So for most of the time, we'll be going for 15-minute slots because 5 minutes is very tight. And then we have repeat. So you could go for enabling this. So if you'd want this to reoccur, then you could set it right here. Basically make it repeatable. So here you can go for a repeat every what interval. So you could go for day, week, month, depending on what you want. Let's say every day or every other day. So you can go for every 1 day or every 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is. So that is if you would want to set an interval. But you could also just go and set this toggle off if you'd want. And then here we have the end after. So how many times would you want this to be repeated? You can set it right here. And then next we have the availability. So here you can set the minimum hours notice and days into the future. And you can see how these settings would translate right here. So invitees can schedule 28 days into the future with at least 4 hours of notice. So you could just set the settings in here. Next is that we have room. So this is also important. So you could add a room for your meeting. So here you get to name your room. You can go for new room, or I'm gonna go for negotiation room. Just like that. And now you could also link this to your Google Calendar if you'd want to. But since we have been using our Google Calendar since the setup, so I would want to naturally enable this so that it will be synced there and make sure that there will be no conflicts in schedule. So now I'm going to select the Google Calendar account. So I'm just going to click here on my Google Calendar account right here that we have just connected into our DM chat. There might be more if you have linked multiple and so on. And then here you can set your weekly hours that is available for this appointment in here. So you could go for adding time slot in here in each day. For example, here you would want another time slot, then you can add the one right here and you can specify and so on, depending on how you'd want this to be structured. But as for this one, I'm just going to leave this at default, so something like this. And once you're done customizing that, you can proceed to the notification settings, wherein you could sync the bookings to Google Calendar. So we absolutely need that so that it will be synced, and we need that. So now click here on send appointment email to contact if you want to send an appointment email. So that's it. So now I'm going to click here on save. So now it will now be created, and we should now be able to see that right here. Alright, so now as you can see, here it is. So now we'll be able to use that when we will be configuring how people can actually set an appointment. So in here, it is not something that you do here under appointment section. This is not where you can make your appointments, but basically just the event types and see the upcoming appointments. So now, for us to be able to let other people book an appointment is that we would actually need to go back here into campaigns, and we would need to enable the appointments or booking here in our campaign. So basically what would happen is that the customer would set the appointment through the AI or bot that we have set up. So in this case, it would be in the messenger. So here we have set up our welcome flow. So we'll be putting or enabling our booking here, and then we could actually set an appointment from there. So basically here in your campaign settings is where you would be able to enable the bookings or appointment to be made. So once you're here in your campaign settings, you want to look for step 1, and then you can see the enable bookings option. So you want to make sure that you toggle this on, and now you want to select the event type that you would want to be booked or get some appointments here in this campaign. So you could go for any event type that you have created. So let's go for our most recent one, which is the bulk product purchase negotiation. Now in here, you can go into the next step, which is AI instructions in step 2. You want to make sure that you also include the appointment instructions that you would want to happen or done by AI. So in here, I'm going to go for the main objective of the AI agent. You can put it here. And I'm going to say something like, also help with the appointment booking. After this, you can provide the details. So now the detail that I would want to happen is that first, ask the customer on what time or date he should the appointment be made, and make sure to verify if that doesn't make sure to verify the available time and date slots, that there is no conflict right there. And after that, once the appointment has been made, also tell the customer that they will be notified via email. So ask them via email right here, or I could go for they'll be notified about and follow up via email. So that's it. So I also include this, ask them via email. So this is crucial right here. So we should see that later on when we're talking to the AI. So now we are done with the instructions. You can have different instructions in here. This is just a basis. So depends on how you'd want it to proceed. But for me, it's just this simple. Now I will try out the AI if it would actually be able to book the appointment seamlessly as I have instructed right here. Let's click here on step 6. So we can now try out the AI, and in here we can now make some chats. So I'm just going to click here on restart, and now I'm going to go for help me make appointment right there and click on send right here. Now just wait for a bit, and then AI should now be able to process the appointment in here. As you can see, it says bot is currently responding, so let's just wait for the response on that. So it's better to do it here in test mode because no credits will be used. Alright, so now here we have the response. So first it introduces itself, and then each appointment is 30 minutes long. Let me check the available times for the next 48 hours, and we have some great openings for you. And now when you scroll down, you'll be able to see more of the details on the openings. That was so great. So in here, we have on Thursday, May 28th, the availability in terms of time. And then the next one would be 29th right there. So if the date or time you prefer is not here on the choices given, then you can just simply type it in right here. As long as it's in advance, then the AI would be able to make some way for that, and as long as it's available. So, but But if your preferred time and date is right here on what was suggested by the AI, then you can choose one. Like for example, I would want to go for May 29, and then you can choose the time. So that would be 4 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I'm gonna go for 1 p.m. So May 29, 1 p.m. And then I'm gonna click here on set. And with that, it will now go on to the next detail. So let's see if the bot would ask us some more additional details or questions about the appointment. So let's just wait for that, and it's currently responding. So it shouldn't take some time. And now in here, you can see that the bot is now booking an appointment. And then you can see that the appointment series has now been successfully booked starting 29th at 1 p.m. So you will receive a confirmation follow-up details at your registered email address, which is this one right here based on the contact. But if the contact doesn't have an email, then the AI would ask that. But in this case, we already have one, as you can see right here. And now to check is that you can go here into your appointments, and then you should have it booked under here on upcoming appointments. So here you can see that we have one at 29 at 1 p.m., which is basically 13 right here. This is the one that we have just booked recently, and there are a ton more right here that I have also tested earlier. So basically this is where you can see all of that. So now next is that we'll be discussing on how the appointment is going to happen and where it would happen. So basically here I chatted another thing, which is, can you give me the link for the appointment? And AI responded, there is no specific direct link for you to access this appointment externally. I mean, there is, but the AI wasn't able to provide that. And the bookings here are confirmed in the system, and you should have received all the details at the email address you provided. And if you ever need to reschedule and cancel off this upcoming sessions, then you can just stay it right here. And yeah, so basically from this, it says that the email address or the email that was sent to our email address has all the information in it. So basically, this is the email that we have just received from the bot. And regarding the appointment, as you can see, this is the event type that we have just created, and then the date. Now in here you can see that it is integrated with Google Calendar, and I have already said yes. So as you can see, we already have the calendar in here, and you can see more details regarding that. Now this is the receiver account right here in the client, because as you may have noticed, I said update my email because the John Doe email right here was just a dummy one, and I want to get access to that email, so I changed that. And now here is the email that we have received. And basically, if I go into the Google Calendar account, which was linked here in my DM chat, then this is where we could see that the appointment has been made, and we have the meeting link here. So we have it right here on June 3, which is the date, right? So that would be here, and 1 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. So here we can see that we could invite via link, and basically we can just send this into our customer in here if you'd want to. Well, they also have the email, so they should be able to get that meeting link from here easily by going into their calendar. But if for some reason they need help with that, you can just get it for them by going here into the calendar linked on your DM Champ account or the room that you have made with the event type that you have created. So that's basically it for the appointments. And basically next is the settings. So I'll just do a quick run through in here just to give you an idea on what each settings is, because essentially each of these are very simple, so it's very easy to explain. So here in profile, wherein you could set in the first name and last name here of your DM Champ account. We have the security in general, where you can set the language and location. The currency to be used here in DM Champ, you can select one right here if you want to change that. You could also change your email address, password in here. You could pause all AI messages if you'd want to. And then you have a screen record mode. So you can blur the contacts, emails, and phone numbers across the app for privacy during screen recordings. But for this tutorial, I didn't blur it because these are all just test information. I didn't show anything real in here. I just like it better if nothing is blurred, so that you would be able to see in real time on how it's done without any blurs. So now I'm just going to enable this just to show you on how it looks like. So now when I'm going here into contacts, we should now see the blur take effect. So I'm just going to click here on update right here because there was an update and probably about the blur because I enabled that, and now it's going to go and refresh the page for us. And now here it is. As you can see, it is now blurred. That was the screen recording mode, so that's how you can do that. And then also here in the chats, when I go here, you can see that the name is now blurred, and that's basically it. So that's how the blur works here. So it would prevent the sensitive information to be seen while you're screen recording, so you can share that confidently when you're screen recording. And that's basically that. Now let's go into more right here. So we have more. We have the follow-up timing, you have your quiet hours, a strict mode right here if you need that. Now here under workspace we have business, so more about the business information in here. And then we have the billing, so you can see that this is where you can see the plan that you have, the renewal date on when it will charge again. And then the plan features, you could also see that in here, how much credits you have, and you could also add credits in here if you ever run out. Next is we have the tags. So I've already discussed this, where you can create your tags. If you want one, just click here on the add tags button. Here under channels is where you can connect your social media platforms in here that is available on DM Champ. So you can connect your Messenger, Instagram, you could also do a via chat widget, SMS, WhatsApp on web, or WhatsApp business. And here you can see that we have our Facebook and Instagram page connected in here, so we can see that the name in here. So next we have the short links. So basically in here you can turn your clicks into conversations. So instead of sending leads to a static page, every link routes them directly into your WhatsApp web number, so you can start engaging instantly. So now let's create one, for example. So here you can click on create short link, and here will generate a short link for you when you save. So now you need to select at least one WhatsApp number and then pre-fill message. So in here we don't have a WhatsApp account connected yet because I don't have a dummy for WhatsApp, but basically this is where you can create that short link in here, so that basically the ending page on where you will be redirecting the customer would be on your WhatsApp web number or in your WhatsApp chat, and then from there you can make a conversation and engage with them instantly. And we have a sticker routing in here, by the way, so that the same visitor always hits the same number. So I preferably turn this on because I would want it the same number always. Next, we have the SMS provider. So if you're doing the SMS channel, then you could set this up right here. So we have the Twilio account. You can migrate to sub accounts and Twilio account SID, and then the account token here, you can put it in right here to set this up. And if you don't have any idea what Twilio is, basically this is the SMS provider that is integrated here in DM Champ, which is a trusted cloud platform that powers text messaging. With Twilio connected, every SMS you send or receive flows through their network, ensuring reliable delivery to your leads worldwide. So you would have to get an account here in Twilio if you'd want to set this up. Next, we have the template management. So you can see here on the number of templates that you have right here. So basically these are for the follow-ups. As you can see right here, you can see the approved, pending, and rejected. So you can see all of these are pending, so they are in draft. Now you could go and view them right here. So basically what you want to do is you click here on the pencil icon, which is basically the edit icon, and this is where you can view that. Now, if there's nothing you want to change and you like the whole idea of this, you can now proceed into update template, or you can just click on cancel basically. So if you've made any changes, click on update template, and in here you can try clicking here on the send icon, and it will now submit the template. And you can see here Twilio credentials not found. You would need to set up your Twilio account first here in the SMS provider if you do want to go for this template for the follow-up cycles, because these are SMS messages formats that Twilio have reviewed and cleared. You can use them immediately for sending once they are here in the approved or counted as approved. And basically If it is like this, pending templates, then they have been submitted but not yet reviewed. They're waiting for the Twilio carrier approval. So you would have to set up your Twilio in here to proceed with the template management. And yeah, the reason it's rejected because it is not approved or it has been denied because they didn't meet compliance rules. So this system exists because SMS providers like Twilio must comply with carrier regulations and anti-spam policies. So each of this must go through Twilio for carrier compliance. That is why you'll see something like approved, pending, or rejected, and why you need to connect Twilio before submitting and actually use one of these templates. Now, we also have the FAQs. So this is where you can add the knowledge base or some data information regarding your business FAQs, and this is basically also where the AI would be able to get its knowledge. So as you can see, knowledge base from that word itself. So you can just go and add it right here if there's anything missing, anything you want to add or change. You could also delete here if there's anything you'd want to remove. So that's basically that. And then we have also our FAQ groups if you'd want to organize your FAQs so that they don't get jumbled up together, and the AI would actually be able to separate each knowledge depending on how you group them. So that's that. And now I'm also going to tell you the import export is also very important, especially if you're migrating here into DM Chat. This is how you would be able to import all of your data that you would wish to add here into the knowledge base in FAQ. And if it's in export, then it's easy. Then you can just click here and copy all, and every data that you have inputted here in the FAQ will now be copied or exported via the copy text. You can also import if you just want to copy and paste it right here, but make sure that it is in this format as you can see in here. And now next we have the custom functions. So basically this one is slightly more advanced compared to the other features because you would have to face some codes here. So this might be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you are just a beginner and have no experience regarding coding and no idea what that is. So basically here in custom functions, this is like little bridges that is between the chatbot and the outside world. Normally, a chatbot can only reply with pre-written answers, right? But with the custom function, the bot can call a web service, send some details, and bring back live information. Like for example, a meeting link, maybe a product price, or an order status, depending on what the custom function is all about. Example that we could say would be if an appointment has been made with a chatbot that we did earlier, then the AI itself can provide a meeting link right there in the chat. So we could do that via custom functions. You can click here on add custom function, and basically it will open up a window in here so that you can create that function. So this is gonna get a little bit advanced in setting this up in here, so that would be for another topic. But basically you can go for visual or JSON method and how you'd want to do this. And here in the visual method, you basically would fill out a form in the platform, like the name, description, URL, methods, and headers after this step. Well, JSON is much simpler here. You just paste a full JSON block that defines everything at once. No prompts, no guidance, you must know the schema. And this would be best for advanced users, reproducibility, and sharing configs. And you could also use the AI here in building your JSON if you'd want to. You can just paste the specific descriptions or details of what you would want to happen in your custom function, and then the AI would build you a JSON code for that. You can use something like ChatGPT, Copilot, and any other AI chat platform. And you can see here some JSON examples. So this would be the format. You can just paste this on your AI chat and tell them that this would be the format on how it's gonna be done, so that they could build it this way and it would work. So you can click here and save once you're done, and you'll get something like this. So I have done that, some sample ones in here. So that's custom functions. And then we have integrations wherein you could reconnect your Google account or calendar. We have ZenChef integration. So this is especially useful if you have a restaurant business here. And then we have the Formidable integration, so you could connect your Formidable restaurant booking system to automatically monitor reservation through AI. So if you are interested in both of these platforms, you could also try that. If you don't want to use Google Calendar, or if you don't want to use them all together, that's also fine. So this is where you could integrate them right here. These are the available integrations in DMChamp. And next, we have the webhooks. So basically, webhooks are a way for one system to automatically notify another system when something happens. Instead of constantly checking for updates, the service sends the information to you right away. So this is basically used for real-time updates. Like for example, when a customer places an order, the e-commerce platform can instantly send the order details to your chatbot or CRM through a webhook, which you can create in here. You can click on create webhook, and then you can provide a name and then the webhook URL in here, and then the subscribe to event. So would you want it to be able to create a contact, alert a human, make an appointment, replies, read, and many more in here. So you can click here and save once done. And so you give the service a special URL, which is called a webhook endpoint, and whenever the event occurs, like a new booking or payment, just as you have set in here, the service will now then call that URL and send a small data package, usually in a JSON format, and the system would react to that data. So this is like a doorbell essentially. Instead of you checking the door every minute, the visitor rings the bell when they arrive, and then the ring is the webhook call, telling you instantly that something happened. And now next we have notifications. So this is basically where you would be able to set up what notifications you would be receiving here from DMChamp. You could go for the email notification settings. You can manage which email addresses receive notifications and customize what each receives. So if you'd want more email to be added in here, you could definitely do that by clicking here on the add button. So when you have added the new or typed the new email address that you wish to be added in here. In this way, multiple email account would actually be able to be notified when something happens in here in your DMChamp account. So for example, there are plenty of people that is managing the work in here. You could essentially add those admins or important people that you would want to receive the updates and add them right here. And here, notification references is basically where you would be able to choose what notification to get notified about. So you could enable push notifications on this device, WhatsApp status changes, and many more right here. You can just choose one on which one you would want and which one you would want to be disabled. So just click here on toggle so that you can choose which one. Next, we have the features. So basically, this is where you can enable or disable optional features for your account. Like we have the task, so that you can manage customer follow-ups with Kanban table list, which we have discussed earlier, and also the daily summaries. So these are the only features here that is available or are optional features here on our account. So you can enable or disable them right here, and they should be gone if you disable them right here. So yeah, and it could not be changed because I was using that. So that's basically that, and most of the time you would turn this on anyways. And next is that we have the setup wizard in here. So basically the onboarding setup once again, which we have discussed already on the first part of this video. So if you want to go through that again, then this is where you can set that up if you would want to. So this would be best if you are starting fresh, training a team, or reconfiguring your account. And lastly, we have this one here for the features on DMChamp. So basically, this would just be the help tab or help feature, wherein you can see a lot of helpful text right here that you could work with if you'd want to study more about DMChamp. And there's some specific things that you'd want to learn from. Then you can go here and basically get some infos here that you might need. Like for example, you're interested about SMS. You can go here into SMS section, and then you'd be able to see some information here regarding SMS, and you just might find the info that you're looking for in here. So there are a lot of sections here that you could choose from to get the info that you'd want here. So you also have the API reference to choose from in here, so some more guides for you to get. And then basically here is where you could see the updates on what's new section, on what's happening here in DM Champ, so you can get updated with the latest improvements and patches and so on. So that's basically the DM Champ features here on the platform itself. So now we will be proceeding into the pricing plans. And now to discuss the pricing, let's go back here into the homepage and go into pricing, or you can just use the link in the description so that you can go here easily. And also we have a lifetime deal available there, so make sure to check that out if you're interested. And basically here in DM Champ we have the pricing. So we have the starter, growth, pro, and agency. So now, as promised, I will discuss each one of them so you know which one is the best one for you according to your needs. So first is that we have the starter. So basically this is a basic entry tier that gives you just enough credits and responses to run small campaigns. It's focused on WhatsApp and web chat, with simple automation like incoming campaigns and voice note understanding. You can think of this as a sandbox to learn how DM Champ works without the heavy investment. So this is for solo entrepreneurs or small shops who would want to experiment with AI chat and campaign optimization before scaling up. Next, we have the growth plan. So this is a mid-level plan that expands your reach to Instagram and Messenger, which supports more chats and introduces smarter automation like image understanding, comment replies, appointment booking. It's designed to move from testing to active customer engagement across multiple platforms. So this would be good for freelancers, growing businesses, or social media managers who need multi-channel support and more advanced features. And we have the Pro plan. So this would be a professional tier built for scale and customization. It would unlock unlimited AI responses, deeper integration, and advanced automation like document or video understanding, automatic follow-ups, and real-time web search. This plan is all about turning DM Champ into a fully integrated part of your workflow. So this would be great for agencies or advanced teams who need full control, integrations, and automation for complex workflows and larger client bases. Now next, we have the agency plan. So this is an enterprise grade tier focused on reselling and client management. It would add unlimited sub-accounts, white labeling, and dedicated onboarding support, making DM Champ a platform that you can rebrand and offer to clients. It's essentially a reseller toolkit. So this is for agencies and large organizations managing multiple clients, needing scalability, branding control, and client pricing flexibility. And now next, if you'd want the lifetime deal, you could also use the link in the description, and then you'd be going to something like this. So you'd be able to see that we would have the lifetime deal in here. As you can see, lifetime access. So we have different plans in here depending on what features you would want to be added into the lifetime access that you have. So essentially this is very similar to the pricing plan that we had on the DM Champ website itself that we have just discussed earlier. So you can just see whatever features that you would be getting in here and see if the features included in that plan were actually what you need, so that you don't go into higher tiers spending on something that you don't actually need. So you can just check it out right here, and once you have chosen one, you can click on buy now, and then you'll be prompted into the checkout page wherein you can go for a discount code or gift card. So make sure that you go into the description of this video and check for some coupon codes wherein you could apply it right here to get a discount. Same goes on the DM Champ checkout. And you just go into the checkout page once you're done and just provide your payment information. And basically, you also need to sign up for an account here. If you ever wish to go for a lifetime deal, you would have to sign up for an AppSumo account and then provide your payment information. Once the payment goes through, then you are now all good. You have successfully purchased a subscription here on DM Champ with a massive discount because of the lifetime plan, or you can just go for the monthly or yearly plan if that's what you need. So that's basically it for this video. I have now discussed everything that you should know regarding DM Champ. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.